Hey there, we are talking about another video. Here we go. Article or a book? How do you know where your idea belongs? Most writers don't struggle because they lack ideas. They struggle because they don't know what to do with them. You've got a bunch of ideas and you're not sure where your idea fits. Are you doing an article? Whether it's for another magazine, whether you're doing something like a Substack or some other newsletter or article service. Some people are still doing blogs. You're not sure whether your idea belongs in one of those short form um, outlets or if it belongs in a long proper book. So let's talk about it. Why writers get stuck at the idea stage. Writers often assume that the bigger ideas deserve bigger containers, but that assumption often creates a lot of confusion for people. Why? Because their ideas, all your ideas will feel important, and you want to be able to put it in a place that makes sense for you. But because this idea might feel so big and important, it's often mistaken for an idea that can be scaled. And sometimes writers will inflate their ideas instead of sitting down to purposely shape them into what it is that it should be. So when an idea is put into the wrong container, what you'll actually start to feel when you sit down to write is a lot of resistance because you don't know where to go when it's in the wrong container. So stalled writing is often a container problem. It's a container problem, not necessarily a creativity problem or the fact that you might feel like, oh, I'm just not a good writer or I'm having a writer's block or something like that. It's often not that. It's just often you haven't really thought through the process of figuring out whether or not how it is that you've presented the work. Is it being presented in the right container? So here's what an article actually does. An article explores an issue from a single angle. It offers one perspective and it resolves one tension. Very short, very to the point. Articles are able to quickly clarify. Articles will distill things down to a single point, and articles often move very quickly. They are often not deeply complicated in most circumstances, but rather they sharpen your point. They sharpen your point. They make your point clear and plain for everybody to be able to see. Foot is itching, sorry. Articles, if an idea can be understood in one sitting, like if you can just tell me quickly what your idea is, if it could be understood in one sitting, then more than likely it's an article. So what would your idea look or feel like if it were to be put into a book? Because what a lot of people who are not necessarily writers would say, or haven't been writing for a long time, a book is not necessarily a longer article. A book is an idea that can sustain inquiry or questions over the long term. So we're looking at multiple dimensions of a particular idea, an idea that evolves over time. We're talking about having responsibility of this particular idea to the reader, and your idea should be coherent across all the chapters. So books, they don't just present the idea, but they develop them. They help you. The books helps people to develop the idea from one chapter to the next. And so if an idea needs room to breathe, if there are spaces where it starts to contradict itself, and the idea, if it has spaces where it contradicts itself and the idea can mature in some way, shape, or form, that's an idea that probably belongs in a book. So what happens when you choose the wrong container for your idea? When writers force an article into a book, they will say, oh, I feel stuck. I have the writer's block. I'm having a creativity problem. Oh, I'm not a good writer. Oh, I need a break. I'm burnt out. And when they force the book idea into an article, the article will feel incomplete to you. Now you can write a series of articles. That might be a thing. And I actually like the idea of, like, some people will try to work their ideas of a book and do a series of articles on, their blog or their Substack or wherever it is that they happen to be writing. That's something that you can do. That's always a great idea. But oftentimes when they are trying to put their article idea into a book, people will often abandon their book idea halfway. Hello, I have done that. I've done that before. You abandon your book idea halfway through because you haven't developed your idea far enough. Articles will sometimes, if you're writing an article, your article will sometimes feel thin. Sometimes you'll be in a state of constant writing and rewriting, and you just keep writing the same sentence over and over and over again, and the same event over and over again. And in the process, you just sort of lose confidence. So the problem really isn't your commitment to the project. It's just that you haven't really decided where is the best place for your idea to live, to be able to belong, to be able to breathe and become what it's supposed to do. So what happens next is that writers make progress when they choose containers deliberately. What does it look like when you choose a container deliberately? You reduce overwhelm. You're not sitting there staring at your computer with a ton of ideas. And if you decide that you want to turn it into an article, you can reduce it down to one place so that your brain can focus. It will often shorten the timeline for you to be able to writing, from when you go from idea to writing to editing to actual publishing. We can actually reduce the time in thinking about those things. It'll increase your confidence when you feel like you're picking up momentum on your idea and you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. You feel good about yourself as a writer. And then lastly, it builds momentum. It builds momentum. You start getting ideas for other articles or other books. Or, if you have a book idea, you can take one idea from one portion of your book, one idea from the larger book, and create smaller articles if you want to be able to do that. So when you're an independent writer, you actually learn this process faster because you're not trying to make every idea prove something to someone else. So if you want to see how writers actually take their ideas and place them into publishable containers, I'm sharing with you 5 successful magazine pitches. And you can see in my 5 examples how it is that I've actually dialed in on one single idea for these articles. If that is interesting to you, if you've ever wanted to be able to become a magazine writer, perhaps you're a therapist, a coach, or someone who works with clients and you have thoughts and opinions about things that you would like to be able to share with the public, this might be a really good resource for you to have. So 5 Magazine, a successful magazine pitches I'm sharing with you. It's the actual pitch, and then underneath the pitch is a link to the actual published article. So you can go ahead and get that. And please click on like, share this video with another writer, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and leave a comment. Please leave a comment. Leave a comment so I know who's here. I would love that. And I will respond to you.